moving on to the next question. This is about setting industry standards. What challenges do you face in establishing industry standards for natural dye processes, and how are you tackling them?
So there is a huge gap because natural dye is not recognized by textile industry as something which is valid. There are no parameters from the government or from the industry. The whole B2B industry, let's say textile industry that we call, they don't recognize natural dyeing because there is no one who set the standard. So at the most, GOTS, they have set some standards for dyes to be eco-friendly.
Okay.
But still, it doesn't cover anything of natural dye because natural dye does not use chemical, right? So eco-friendly organic dyes means which we are not using harmful chemicals, but they may not be natural.
Okay.
So there is actually no body, no organization, no one who has set standards here.
Okay.
So there's a huge gap right now.
Okay.
But in the time being, since we are working with industrial side of natural dyeing, what do we offer to our clients? Is that the wash fastness parameter of the conventional textile industry is what we follow.
Oh, okay.
And we, according to their rating, we tell them that this is a 3 to 4 rating or 2 to 3 rating is what we are following.
Okay.
But those things are all the standards are based on washing with detergents which are meant for conventional textiles.
Okay.
Actually, for natural dye, you need to use natural detergents and all, right? So your washing fastness should be based on if you wash with natural detergents, how long will it last? If you wash with very chemically, strong detergents, then of course you can't have the parameter to match it.
Yes.
So I think there is a huge gap right now, but we are trying to explain people according to the standards which are already there for conventional textiles. So we are just using that right now.
Okay.
But we have a very extensive call out sheet that we offer to clients in which we give certain properties of dyes. For example, don't use these colors for outdoor material, or indigo is supposed to fade. All of these call out. So we call them call out, which is
Okay.
a set of things that you have to agree if you want to get into natural dye. Because after taking, you can't say, why is this happening?
Yes.
You have to read, you have to agree to those conditions and then work with it.
Right.
Because we are doing professionally, so
Mm.
these are very important for us to do. So
Yeah.
I think there is a huge need for a kind of language and a book on how to understand natural dyes, what is acceptable, what are the standards that can be followed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if it is from a layman's point of view, what would you be your top three parameters that might have to be addressed in the beginning to start with?
So first is washing with neutral detergent, not using any bleach detergents like Surf Excel or any such detergent powder. Nothing which has bleach in it. Some the detergents that make the clothes white are
Hmm.
not supposed to be used for natural dye. So liquid detergents, mild detergent. Second is not drying directly in sun. I think these two are the main things that fade natural dyes faster.
Okay.
And I think third is keep it away from strong acidic substances like lemon also.
Okay.
Acidic substance can bleach. Yeah,
Okay.
in fact, if you want to test if it's natural dye or not, you should put lemon and heat it with an iron. If it fades, it is natural dye. If it doesn't fade, it's chemical.
Okay. So even the deodorants that we use could be impacting on the.
It may not. So it depends on if the pH is very acidic or very alkali. Anything. The pH is the main thing.
Got
Even
it.
if your sweat is very acidic or alkali, then it can affect the clothes. So the thing is that
Mm.
neutral pH is the best. That's why neutral detergent. That's
Okay.
why any spray, whatever, if the pH is not very, if because our skin pH is almost neutral, right?
Mm.
Slightly acidic, neutral. So anything which is made for skin will not harm our clothes actually.
Okay.
Anything which does not harm our skin should not harm natural dyes also.
Okay, ma'am. Coming to the next segment, which is about training and community development. Impact of training programs. How has training people in natural dye techniques impacted local communities, especially in sustainable fashion?
Oh, yeah, in a very big way. Because we have training programs not only for people who want to become natural dyers,
Mm-hmm.
we also have training program for brands who want to start working with it. Because
Okay.
even if they're never going to dye, they have to know and get educated
Mm-hmm.
so that they can work with this language of, textiles.
Okay.
So training with the hand
Mm-hmm.
it creates a connection with the material, that what is happening and
Okay.
how things, like for example, when the pH of the dye changes, colors change. When the ultraviolet rays of one country to another country shades, it looks different. So many things are there. And also, like, what colors can you mix, or what shades can you take? You can't go for very dark shades, they will definitely bleed. This bleeding doesn't impact negatively, and yet so many of these languages come handy when people take training.
Okay.
So whether they work or not work, they also are going to consume it sometimes, but just at the back, because this education is not available in any college yet, because
Okay.
colleges are also doing very a very basic level, natural dyeing, which is like almost like what you can do with YouTube. But
Mm-hmm.
the technical natural dyeing aspects are not coming out anywhere. So
Okay.
training is very, very, very important to create an awareness in the market as a whole, because from word of mouth things spread, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I learn something, I tell other people also, and like this, all of us can become aware.
Okay. The recent times, the colleges and institutes they offer the sustainable fashion courses, and how effective do you think that it can actually impact?
It could. They should first get trained. None of the teachers are trained. None
Mm.
of the teachers are trained, as far as I know, in natural dyeing. And what natural dyeing they're doing, they're still doing the ones which are very traditional processes, and very kind of I would say rudimentary level.
Okay.
To bring it to application, they should be tying up with practitioners and seeing what is how the application in industry and work happens.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I sound very arrogant in saying this, but I think students need a little more technical knowledge and deeper knowledge in this to be able to work with it. Right now, most students who have come to me for internship, because they did not have it in their college,
Mm-hmm.
what they say is that in the college, they have a small subject and then they are supposed to experiment by themselves. Nobody is teaching them properly the science of it. The science has to come in the college. It can't be you take this, for example, haldi is not a dye,
Okay.
haldi is a stain.
Mm.
But students are using haldi to dye clothes because nobody has told them the difference between a stain and a dye. There's a whole process to understand. So I think that's where Color Ashram is very keen
Okay.
to tie up with colleges if their teachers want to get trained. One time training and then you continue teaching, or if you want to tie up with curriculum partner and or any of these things. But I think this dyeing should not be only with handicraft. Usually, students are sent to handicraft clusters
Okay.
to see the dyeing or whatever natural dyeing, but that's not seeing is not understanding at all.
Okay.
And handicraft people will never teach the chemistry and the science behind it, right? They will just show how they work with it.
Yeah.
But why are you using certain things? What are the steps in the dyeing? How does it affect, like how textile industry functions is very scientific.
Mm.
It is not just a handicraft. So I think that aspect, it's a very detailed subject. It should at least come like a major, a proper subject, not just a few classes. Yeah.
When we started the podcast, you rightly mentioned working on through emotion to take it to the finish line, and you think that aspect should be, in the first place, even when educating the students in this space.
Absolutely. I think students are very ready. This generation is actually open to sustainability in a very big way than our generation, because they are seeing that there is a threat to climate change. Climate change and all these things are very real. So I think they are very ready to take this in. Their emotions is in the place, I feel.
Mm.
But colleges and have to give that opportunity to for them to connect with this thing,
Yeah.
and explore with this and find some solutions, innovate in this field, not just do things which have been done early. I think there has to be a space open for
Okay.
experimenting, innovating, and taking out something new in this. But
Okay.
I think the huge gap is that in colleges and in institutes are meant to make people a career in this textiles, right?
Okay.
So they themselves don't see natural dyeing as a career till now. They don't see it as an industry application.
Mm.
That confidence is not yet there that it can be an industry. I think
Yeah.
that is why the importance is not coming to it, making a curriculum important, because for them,
Mm.
they have to give the children something with which they can get jobs, they
Mm.
can earn money, they
Mm.
can work in industry. There is a bit of a gap here,
Got it.
and some kind of vision. Vision is important to
Yeah.
see what is coming. Like maybe it's not very visible right now, but
Mm.
this industry can be huge and there are applications. So I think first the colleges themselves have to see
Mm.
beyond handicraft.
Coming to the next factor, it is about skills. Skills for dyeing artisans. What skills do you emphasize most in training artisans for natural dyeing and why?
Your questions are very nice. So, yeah, very, very important question because not everybody can become a natural dyer.
Okay.
You need to have patience.
Mm.
You need to be able to open for mindfulness. It
Okay.
is not something that you can do with your blind eyes. Your instincts have to be strong
Mm.
because you need to, even if I tell you that dip this fabric for 20 minutes, you have to connect with the water and the fabric and feel it like an art. So here art part of it is very important, the emotion part of it, and
Okay.
being very mindful because the natural colors are alive, the
Mm.
fabric is alive because you're working with natural fabric. Nothing is dead. So
Okay.
you can't behave like you behave with plastics. You
Okay.
have to feel that, okay, the cloth can be reacting in different way in different times with different dyes, and with different people. So connection, I think, is very important. And there is a sense of playfulness.
Okay.
There is a need to be able to take risk
Okay.
because there will be a lot of mistakes, a lot of things will go wrong, and then only you learn. So I think people who are very cautious, people who are very serious, I think it'll be difficult for them to play because I think this is what I have also learned. I'm also still learning, I would say. But
Got.
my partner, I see that he's never scared to take risk. He's never scared to spoil a batch. He
Okay.
is, so I think these things are important. And that instinctive connection with the process is very important. And it is scientific as well. So
Mm.
chemistry is important to know in
Okay.
all of this.
Got it. That's amazing, actually. Like how the technicality, spirituality, and the chemical reactions come together as an expression of art form. Wow.
Like they say now, no, that if you are gardening and if you sing or you have good feelings when you are taking care of your plants, they grow better.
Yeah.
I think it's similar with natural dye. Yeah.
Beautiful. So, coming to the next part, it's overcoming scaling challenges. What challenges have you faced in scaling training programs, and what solutions have proven effective?
So scaling training program or scaling production? Which one is your question?
I think we can address both. You can start
Okay.
with your most passionate.
In scaling up, the only thing is batch to batch variation will always happen. Even if
Okay.
you use the same amount of water, same amount of dye, same one batch. If you're working on one fabric, let's say you're block printing
Mm.
for you block print 50 meters and you did 10 meters, then you stopped. And then after some time, next day you again started printing the rest of it. They will be different. So whatever you do, you have to do it at one go, at one time. And from that batch to another batch, there can be slight variations which have to be accepted. It's
Yes.
nobody's, it is just the way, nature is very alive and changes
Yeah.
every moment.
Yeah.
So that is there.
Mm.
That is one. But besides that, Color Ashram has been able to solve the scalable problem because we have processes and dyes and solutions to dye 1,000 meters. So if the machine can dye 1,000 meters, they can do 1,000 meter, 500, 100. All of this is possible. In hand dyeing,
Mm.
scalability is problematic because you
Okay.
can't handle more than 5 or 10 meters at one go in the hand. So batch to batch, there will be slight variation. So I think the shade variation is can be controlled, but
Mm.
it can't be eliminated. That is one.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I think what else? I think mindset only that,
Mm.
scaling up. It can be whether it can be done. People are so used to chemical dyes and people are so used to natural dyes being very problematic
Okay. Okay.
that the openness is not there.
Acceptance. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If I mean if they want to do it, it'll take some time. So the training is a main gap.
Okay.
People need to invest in training. Like we don't spend money on research development usually so much. We are production always very ready production.
Yes.
That time to train to be able to like before you become a good dye, you need a year-long work. You have to
Mm.
keep practicing and doing. You can't just learn in one workshop and training and expect yourself to become a good dyer. So
Okay.
those kind of things. I think, yeah, that's it. And
Okay.
in scaling up training, I think team is very important
Okay.
because I have not been able to find another teacher yet in my institute. Like, I have some freelance arrangements with people, but
Okay.
I think making a team, having funds to make the team,
Mhm.
because most sustainable businesses like mine are
Mm-hmm.
very hand to mouth. Our work is not very popular or something that everybody wants to learn natural dyeing. There's a very less business, so the volume of business is low
Okay.
because the capital is like, the rolling is low. So I think those things are there.
Mm.
But even if you putting in money is not enough. If anybody also puts in money, we need team
Okay.
to get ready and all of that. But I feel scaling up is possible, and then also outreach partners. Let's say today I make some online programs, if not offline, so many.
Mm.
So who are the partners who will disseminate it,
Mm.
who will share those at the platforms and everything. Those ties I think are important. That ecosystem is still important, and everybody is working in their own bubble.
Okay.
Nobody is connected.
Okay, got it. So, the next part, what I had in mind was like people, even if they start, getting the willingness to get trained and equip themselves, the next part is going to be how to reach the people. So, it starts from there. So, consumer awareness and education. How do you approach educating the public on the benefits of choosing natural dyed products over synthetic ones?
One is we do this festival, which I was doing once a year, but the next year I'm not doing. I plan to do an international one in 2026.
Okay.
I want to work towards it. So
Okay.
I think we just need to have events where natural dye is seen and happening, marketplaces, especially for natural dye.
Okay.
I think even if like these events may not be popular when we just begin it, but
Yeah.
we need to consistently do like something that needs to become a ritual that okay, every year in this month natural life thing happens here in the city or whatever those things are. So I think we need to give time for people to come and see these things, get, it's like when you have a relationship with someone, you just don't have trust one time. No, you have to continuously show what it is.
Yeah.
So I think we need fashion shows, we need events, we need carnivals, we need all these things with natural dye to
Got it.
be available for consumer awareness. I think that's the best way, because seeing it is believing. If
Mm.
we tell these things to people, they can't connect to something. And
Okay.
if we just sell, if you only focus on exhibition and selling, won't happen. The
Okay.
process being like playing with the process, being having workshops and options available at like a festival.
Mm.
That's why I didn't want to do a seminar, I didn't want to do a conference, I didn't want to do a marketplace. I wanted to do a festival
Okay.
where there's cinema, there's water panel, there is a discussion, there's activity, there's selling, all kinds of things happening at
Got
the same time,
got it.
so that people can relate. Okay, this is how indigo looks like, and this is how it dies. Okay, now I want to buy a dress.
Mm.
Okay, I need to buy a dress because it saves water, and water pollution is very important. That kind of a thing, an integrated approach, because people have very less patience to listen to information. So we need to do it in a way where it's a celebration. So before only using fear that chemical dyes are very
Yeah,
harmful,
yeah, yeah.
we also need to make people fall in love with the fun of it. So
Okay.
I think indirect learning,
Okay.
where you're doing something and you automatically learn about something, is the best way of learning than
Yeah.
doing like forcing directly this information into people. And we should have musicians, artists, singers, people who are popular wear natural dye. So I've always wanted to do dressing change makers. Let's
Okay.
say you are a change maker.
Mm.
So I would like to dress you up in natural dye clothing,
Oh,
because change makers are leaders, people
yes.
who are doing farming.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about just the stars and all of
Mm.
that, celebrities, but I'm also talking the people who are actually leading sustainable businesses. If they all start wearing natural dye clothing at events,
Mm.
it'll make a lot of difference.
At a point of time when I feel like there is such a huge gap in this, this very term fashion dictatorship comes in my mind. Would you want to
Mhm.
like, talk about that?
Fashion dictatorship is the right word you've used actually, because clothes were meant to serve certain functions actually, and the functionality has completely gone out.
Mm.
But I think healthy clothing has to be, I mean, fashion has to be replaced by healthy clothing. And why we wear clothes actually, it's an artistic expression that has got nothing to do with fashion. I mean, it started from there, but it has changed a lot. So I think how does fashion impact our environment and our lives has to be looked into it. Nobody, I mean, people have been looking, but we need to go deeper in this to see how much of negative impact it has
Mm.
on our lives. and or maybe focus on how much of positive impact can it have. So by healthy clothing, by just wearing a good dress, you can feel comfortable. And yeah, so those kind of things need to be looked at. And fast fashion especially has to be completely like, boycotted in that way. One thing I just want to say, like, we always focus on how do I look in this,
Mm.
how do I feel in this? I think
Yeah.
that has to be very
Yeah.
important. How do you feel? Like, if that could be gorgeous, if some
Yes.
clothes give you a feeling of really comfort and all of that,
Yes.
those kind of things are,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, we should take it up properly, vis-a-vis like a consumer point of view on fashion, and how can it be styled nicely, even if it's natural dye.
So, changing consumer perceptions. Have you noticed a shift in how consumers view natural dyes and sustainable clothing?
Yeah, I think before industry and government will take a step to bring in natural dye, consumers are already ready to do that. They are just not aware, they just don't know about it. I think and it's not just people who are sustainable and conscious people, also people who don't know anything about sustainability. You will be surprised of if when people come to know how many people are just curious and interested actually. So I feel like consumer movement is a more ready movement which is
Mhm.
already happening, and it can
Okay.
happen in a bigger way
Okay.
if the consumers are ready actually. And
Mm.
if they are ready, they're demanding it.
Yes.
Industries will be happy to make things that the consumers want.
So, you're already
Yeah.
seeing the shift in the consumer patterns.
Yes, it is. It is there, but I think the scarcity of marketplaces, scarcity of like being very easy to get a natural like clothing. I think those are some very big problem, because you only find it in some exhibitions. You will find somewhere there is no shop selling it.
Mm.
There's no brand selling it. There's very few places where you even see it. So
Mm.
marketplace is a game changer, I feel here. If
Okay.
marketplaces could include natural dye as an important part, and if we could have more marketplaces viable for people.
And for these things to happen, do you think the most influential factor could be the policies, or it should be the other factors like awareness of or the educated consumerism?
I think both.
Mm.
Without policy, we can't do much. I think we need that as well.
Mm.
We need, it to be recognized, it to have by textile industry to recognize this as a valid thing, and to have policy changes. For example, there is a GST on natural dyes.
Okay.
So, I mean, 18% GST,
Mm.
as it's on because looked as chemicals.
Mm.
We should have subsidy on national dyeing. Forget 18% GST.
Yes.
So we should see if this has to be promoted, there has to be subsidy, there has to be incentives from the government to do this. And there has to be standard, first of
Yeah.
all.
The importance of transparency. How important is transparency in dyeing processes for consumer trust, and how does Color Ashram ensure it?
So I think there is a both the things. So one is that consumers should come to know about the what kind of materials are used in the dyeing, but consumer is cannot be a demanding one, because consumer wants to know a lot but they themselves don't know much. So when it's a very uneducated customer, they ask rubbish things also sometime, and like you will not even buy it, but you will ask 10 things as if the whole you will probably change the world only like that. So the thing is that consumer also has a responsibility to know and educate. Their brands are already educating. Why don't you read those things before bombarding questions? So there is a responsibility on the consumer to educate themselves.
Okay.
And there's also right of the consumer to know that how it is impacting. But in natural dyeing, I think there are certain things which only a technical person can understand.
Mm.
So I guess that transparency is very important. I keep telling the brands who come also that, whatever steps you take, just be transparent. That is the best way to market your product. If
Mm.
you have started using natural dyes, say that, okay, I'm not using organic cotton, but I'm using natural dyes. Then
Okay.
you say that, okay, I want to remove plastic packaging, but right now, because it is a journey, I don't think anybody can say that I'm 100% sustainable.
Right.
So we all know it's a very tough journey. So I
Yeah.
think being transparent builds the trust in the consumer. If you say, I am all sustainable,
Mm.
consumer will obviously think that you're lying. Instead of that, you should present your limits that, I want to be a more sustainable brand, and this is what I'm starting with.
Mm.
So make consumer, then the consumer also knows how difficult it is to become sustainable. I
Yes.
think that connection has to be there. It should not be, I demand a fully sustainable product, but you can't charge money for it, or people will lie then.
Yes.
So I guess that not giving in to whims and fancies of consumers,
Okay.
but also taking the responsibility. Like both people have to have the responsibility. For example, consumer is supposed to learn about the wash care
Mm.
if they want to buy a product. They just
Okay.
can't say because you have to read and understand it's important.
We have covered all these four segments, and I'm very happy to have had you here in this beautiful topic and the kind of insights, right from spiritual, approaching this on a spiritual note to scientific note. You have covered all the spectrums from the consumer point of view or from the person who is wanting to get into this sustainable fashion as an entrepreneur. So thank you so much, ma'am. I'm looking forward to have you more. With our podcasts and addressing these topics.
Thank you so much for your wonderful questions. They're really lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.